The security camera footage played on the massive screen in the boardroom, showing a man performing CPR on an unconscious woman lying on the marble floor of the corporate lobby. The executives watched in stunned silence as the stranger worked with calm precision, saving their CEO's life before disappearing into the crowd. "Find him," Alexandra Reeves ordered, her voice still raspy from her near-death experience 3 days earlier. "I need to thank the man who saved my life." If you've ever wondered about those fleeting moments when strangers cross paths and change lives forever, this story will touch your heart. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories of ordinary heroes who make extraordinary differences. James Morgan pressed his daughter's inhaler into her small hand and watched her take a deep breath. "Better, Lily?" The 7-year-old nodded, her breathing steadying as the medication opened her airways. He checked his watch. They were running late again. Between Lily's asthma attack and the morning rush to get her ready for school, he'd barely have time to drop her off before his job interview. Being a single father to a child with chronic health issues while trying to rebuild his career wasn't easy, but James wouldn't have it any other way. Lily was his world. "Daddy, will you be picking me up today?" Lily asked, her blue eyes, so like her mother's, looking up at him hopefully. "Of course, sweetheart. I'll be there right after my interview." He smoothed her dark curls and adjusted her backpack. "Remember, Mrs. Wilson will be watching you until I get there." "I hope you get the job," Lily said, hugging him tightly. "Then we can buy a house with a garden for Mommy's flowers." James swallowed the lump in his throat. 2 years after Sarah's death, Lily still talked about her mother's beloved garden. "That's the plan, kiddo. Now, let's get you to school." Across town, Alexandra Reeves strode through the gleaming headquarters of Horizon Innovations, the tech company she'd built from the ground up. At 36, she was one of the youngest female CEOs in the industry, known for her brilliant mind and uncompromising standards. Employees scattered from her path, recognizing the determined look on her face. "The quarterly reports are ready for review," her assistant said, struggling to keep pace. "And the board is waiting in the conference room." Alexandra nodded curtly. "Tell them I'll be there in 5 minutes. I need to review the presentation one more time." In her office, she paused to take a breath. The pressure never ceased, investors to please, competitors to outmaneuver, and 1,000 employees depending on her decisions. Sometimes she wondered if the success was worth the solitude. Her last relationship had ended 6 months ago, another casualty of her relentless work schedule. But Horizon was her legacy, the thing she'd built when everyone said she would fail. After dropping Lily at school, James arrived at the Horizon Innovations building, straightening his tie as he entered the imposing glass structure. This interview was crucial. The senior project manager position would provide the stability and benefits he desperately needed for Lily. His previous company's downsizing had left him scrambling for work for months, depleting their savings and forcing them to move to a small apartment. The receptionist directed him to the waiting area. "Ms. Reeves is in a board meeting, but Mr. Peterson will be with you shortly." James nodded, trying to calm his nerves. He reviewed his portfolio one last time, the collection of successful projects he'd led before his life had been upended. He was qualified for this job, more than qualified, but the gap in his employment history worried him. The board meeting was going poorly. Alexandra faced skeptical expressions as she outlined her vision for the company's next major product launch. "The development timeline seems unrealistic," one board member commented. "We're talking about cutting-edge technology that hasn't been properly tested." "My team has been working on this for 18 months, Alexandra countered. "We're ahead of our competitors, and if we don't move now, we'll lose our advantage." The debate continued, growing more heated as Alexandra defended her strategy. She felt a familiar tightness in her chest, stress, she assumed, but pushed through it. She couldn't show weakness, not here, not now. As the meeting concluded, Alexandra gathered her materials, ignoring the increasing discomfort. In the elevator down to the main floor, the pain suddenly intensified, radiating down her left arm. She struggled to breathe, her vision blurring at the edges. Something was very wrong. She stumbled out of the elevator into the lobby, trying to call for help, but her voice failed her. The last thing she saw before collapsing was the concerned face of a dark-haired man rushing toward her. James had just checked his watch, wondering how much longer he'd have to wait, when he heard the commotion. A woman had collapsed near the elevators. Without hesitation, he rushed over, recognizing the signs of cardiac arrest from his emergency response training. "Call 911, he shouted to the stunned receptionist as he knelt beside the unconscious woman. He loosened her collar and checked for a pulse. Nothing. "She's not breathing," someone cried out. James immediately began CPR, his training taking over. "Come on," he muttered, counting compressions. "Stay with me." Time seemed to slow as he worked, aware of the gathering crowd but focused entirely on the woman beneath his hands. After what felt like an eternity but was actually less than 2 minutes, she gasped, her eyes fluttering open momentarily before closing again. The paramedics arrived, taking over with professional efficiency. As they loaded Alexandra onto a stretcher, James stepped back, suddenly aware that he was now very late for his interview. He slipped away quietly, unnoticed in the chaos, and headed for the exit. The job opportunity was likely lost, but a life had been saved, a fair trade, he thought. Alexandra woke in the hospital, disoriented and weak. The doctor explained she'd suffered a sudden cardiac arrest caused by an undiagnosed heart condition. "If that man hadn't started CPR immediately, you might have suffered brain damage or worse," he told her. "He saved your life." "What man?" Alexandra asked, her memory foggy. Her assistant, who had been waiting anxiously, explained about the stranger in the lobby. "Security says he was there for an interview, but he left before anyone could speak with him. We don't even know his name." Alexandra frowned. "Find him. I need to thank him properly." Days passed as Alexandra recovered in the hospital. The incident had shaken her profoundly, forcing her to confront her mortality and reconsider her priorities. The doctors warned her to reduce stress and make lifestyle changes. For the first time in years, she found herself thinking beyond the next quarter's profits. Meanwhile, James continued his job search with increasing desperation. The missed interview at Horizon had been a significant setback. He'd called to explain and reschedule, but the position had already been filled. Now, sitting at their small kitchen table reviewing their dwindling finances while Lily slept, he wondered how much longer they could manage. His phone rang, an unknown number. Probably another recruiter, he thought. "Is this James Morgan?" a woman's voice asked when he answered. "Yes, speaking." "Mr. Morgan, my name is Alexandra Reeves, CEO of Horizon Innovations. I believe you saved my life 3 days ago." James was stunned into silence. "Mr. Morgan? Are you there?" "Yes, sorry. How did you find me?" "We have security footage," she explained. "And you were in our system for the interview you missed. Because you were saving my life." "I'm glad you're okay," James said simply. "Anyone would have done the same." "That's not true, and we both know it. I'd like to meet with you, to thank you properly." James hesitated. "That's really not necessary." "Please," Alexandra insisted. "Tomorrow morning? I'm still in the hospital, but they're releasing me soon." Reluctantly, James agreed, arranging to visit after dropping Lily at school. The next morning, he entered Alexandra's private hospital room feeling oddly nervous. The woman lying in the bed looked different from the powerful executive he'd seen collapse, smaller somehow, more human. But her eyes were sharp and assessing as she studied him. "Mr. Morgan. Please, sit down." She gestured to the chair beside her bed. "I understand you have a daughter?" James was surprised by the question. "Yes, Lily. She's 7. And you're raising her alone?" He nodded, wondering where this was going. "I've learned a bit about you," Alexandra admitted. "Former project manager at TechSphere, excellent record until the company downsized 2 years ago. Since then, you've been working temporary positions while caring for your daughter, who has asthma. You've been investigating me?" James felt uncomfortable with the invasion of privacy. "I like to know who I'm dealing with," Alexandra said unapologetically. "Especially when they save my life." She paused. "The position you interviewed for has been filled, but I have another opening that might interest you. Senior Operations Manager, reporting directly to me." James stared at her. "Is this some kind of thank you gesture?" "Because I don't need charity." Alexandra's expression hardened. "I don't do charity, Mr. Morgan. I run a business. Your resume is impressive, and you clearly perform well under pressure. The fact that you've maintained your professional skills while being a single parent shows remarkable dedication and time management. Those are qualities I value." James considered her words. The position sounded perfect, exactly the opportunity he needed. But something still bothered him. "Why did you really look for me? You could have sent a thank you note through HR." Alexandra was silent for a moment. "When you're lying on the floor not breathing, certain things become clear. I've spent my life building a company, but I have no one to share it with. No family, few friends. Just employees who fear me and competitors who want to be me." She met his eyes directly. "You saved my life and then disappeared without seeking recognition or reward. That kind of integrity is rare. I want people like that on my team." Her honesty surprised him. "I'll consider it," he said finally. "Good. Human Resources will contact you with details." She handed him a business card. "My personal number is on the back. If you have any questions." As James left the hospital, he felt a strange mix of emotions. The job offer would solve their financial problems, but Alexandra Reeves was clearly a complicated woman. Something flickered in her eyes, surprise, perhaps, that he'd asked. "Better. Following doctor's orders?" "Mostly." He smiled. "Mostly? I'm not good at slowing down," she admitted. "But nearly dying does provide perspective." Their conversation was interrupted by her assistant announcing her next appointment. The moment of connection passed, but something had shifted between them. As months went by, James proved his value to the company repeatedly, turning around struggling projects and improving operational efficiency. Alexandra found herself increasingly relying on his calm judgment and practical solutions. They developed a working relationship based on mutual respect, though both maintained a careful professional distance. Lily, however, had no such reservations. When she visited the office one afternoon when her after-school program was cancelled, she charmed everyone she met, including Alexandra. "You're the lady my daddy saved," Lily said matter-of-factly when introduced. "He said your heart stopped working." Alexandra looked startled, then smiled. "Yes, that's right. Your father is a hero." Lily nodded seriously. "He's my hero too. He makes the best pancakes, and he never forgets my medicine, even when he's really tired." Something in Alexandra's expression softened as she listened to Lily chatter about her father. James, watching them together, saw a side of his boss he'd never witnessed before, gentle, attentive, almost wistful. That evening, after Lily was asleep, James received a text from Alexandra, "Your daughter is remarkable. You should be proud." He replied simply, "I am. Every day." A crisis with a major client brought them closer together. Working late nights and weekends to salvage a failing implementation, they gradually let down their guards. James learned about Alexandra's childhood with parents who valued achievement above all else, her struggle to be taken seriously in a male-dominated industry, and her relentless drive to prove herself. In turn, he shared stories of his life with Sarah, their dreams for the future, and the devastating loss when cancer took her just after Lily's 5th birthday. He spoke of his determination to be both mother and father to his daughter, to keep Sarah's memory alive while helping Lily move forward. "You've done an amazing job with her," Alexandra said one night as they shared takeout in her office. "She's confident, kind, resilient." "I'm trying," James admitted. "Some days are harder than others." "Like when she has asthma attacks?" He nodded. "Those are terrifying. But we manage." Alexandra hesitated, then asked, "Don't you ever want? I mean, have you thought about dating again? Finding someone to share the burden?" James considered the question. "It's not really a burden. And between work and Lily, there hasn't been time." He didn't add that no one had captured his interest, until recently. "What about you? The great Alexandra Reeves must have admirers lining up." She laughed without humor. "Men who want to conquer the Ice Queen? Or worse, those intimidated by my success who try to diminish me? No thanks." "Not all men are like that," James said quietly. Their eyes met across the desk, a moment of understanding passing between them. But Alexandra quickly looked away, returning to the client problem at hand. The client crisis was eventually resolved, largely due to their combined efforts. At the celebration dinner with the team, Alexandra surprised everyone by publicly acknowledging James's contribution. "Without James Morgan's insight and dedication, we might have lost this client. His ability to see solutions where others see only problems has become invaluable to Horizon." Later, as the evening wound down, they found themselves alone at the table, the rest of the team having departed. "Did you mean what you said?" James asked. "About my contribution?" Alexandra nodded. "I don't give praise lightly, as you know." "I've noticed," he said with a smile. "You're demanding, exacting, sometimes terrifying to the junior staff." She winced. "That bad? But also brilliant, inspiring, and surprisingly kind when it matters," he continued. "I've seen how you quietly arranged for Tim in accounting to work from home when his wife was ill. Or how you personally mentored Sophia when everyone else had written her off." Alexandra looked surprised. "You notice a lot." "I pay attention to things that interest me," he said simply. The air between them changed, charged with unspoken possibilities. Alexandra was the first to break the moment, gathering her things. "It's late. We should go." Outside the restaurant, as they waited for their respective cars, she suddenly asked, "Would you and Lily like to come to my house this weekend? I have a garden. Not much in it yet, but Lily mentioned once that her mother loved gardening." James was touched by the thoughtfulness of the invitation. "She'd love that. So would I." The visit to Alexandra's home marked a turning point. Seeing her in jeans and a simple sweater, showing Lily how to plant flower bulbs in the garden, revealed yet another facet of this complex woman. James found himself increasingly drawn to her, not just her beauty or intelligence, but her hidden gentleness and the vulnerability she rarely allowed others to see. For Alexandra, spending time with James and Lily awakened feelings she'd long suppressed. The easy affection between father and daughter, their little inside jokes and caring gestures, made her realize how empty her life of professional achievements had become. She began to look forward to their weekend visits, planning activities that would delight Lily and create opportunities to know James better. As spring turned to summer, their relationship gradually evolved. Professional respect became friendship, and friendship deepened into something more. They were careful, both aware of the complications. He was technically her employee, she was his boss, and Lily's well-being had to be considered above all. "She likes you," James told Alexandra one evening as they sat on her patio, watching Lily chase fireflies in the garden. "She talks about you all the time." "I like her too," Alexandra said softly. "And her father." James reached for her hand, entwining their fingers. "Her father is quite fond of you as well." Their first kiss came later that night, after Lily had fallen.